Joining us is someone who knows how to ask questions, radio talk show host Hugh Hewitt. Welcome, Hugh. Voters don't know much about Kamala Harris. How and will that change?
I don't know that it's going to, Congressman, and thank you for having me. I watched the interview with Dana Bash on Thursday night, and I thought to myself, this is awful. This probably marks the beginning of the downward slide in her numbers that will be, I think, continuous until the election, because Americans typically tune in on Labor Day. They might have tuned in on Thursday night. And what they saw, I don't want to insult salads, but that was a word salad, and it was not a very persuasive word salad. And I think she prepared 40 days for one interview, and to fail that badly tells us she does not have the minimum skill set necessary to be the President of the United States. I also will steal from Abe Greenwald of Commentary Magazine. He noted on their podcast, interviews are her kryptonite, and they are. That's why she won't do them. She's incapable of thinking on her feet, delivering a concise answer to a question of a flip-flop, and there are hundreds of them, as you know. But I just think that basically anyone who watched that and will watch her in anything other than a scripted environment like the DNC will conclude she can't be president. She doesn't know how to do it.
All right, for those who may have missed that interview, we used to call it jail Jesus. That was defendants finding religion right about the time punishment was about to be handed down. And Harris seems to have found all these new positions right before the general election. She seems to, I mean, California moderate and Democrat don't go in the same sentence, but she wants to convince people that she's become a moderate.
Yeah, she does, and you're right, Congressman. I moved to California in 1989 when we were done with the Reagan administration, and I came back to the Beltway in 2016. In between, I lived in California. The conservative part of California is not very conservative. It's Orange County, where I lived. L.A. is left-wing, and San Francisco's nuts. So she's a San Francisco Democrat, a radical San Francisco Democrat. Team Trump is saying a dangerous San Francisco liberal, but she's not a liberal. San Francisco politics are so wild and so out of control, you always have to go left of left of left. And that's the milieu in which she grew up as a political activist. She ran originally against the death penalty. That was what she ran for, to be San Francisco district attorney. And I think if the legacy media puts any attention at all on what she believed in 2019, and I believe she still believes. I don't believe she believes in fracking. You don't go from being anti-fracking completely in 5 years to being a proponent of fracking. And I don't think you can win Pennsylvania unless you have a full-throated defense of why modern-day fracking is not only safe, but we need it to overproduce our supply in order to bring prices down. The only way to bring prices down that have gone up under Biden and Harris is to produce more energy and make it cheaper to make what we buy in stores and to transport those items to stores. She didn't do that. And it's not that hard to do if you have the skill set. She didn't do it.
Hugh, one of her favorite phrases is day one. Let's listen to that together.
When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward. Day one, it's going to be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy.
She talks like she's a challenger, like she's been out of office. She talks about day one, and this is day like 1,201. How can voters fall for what she's going to do if she hasn't done it over the last 3 years?
I don't think they're going to, Trey. I think they're going to begin to dial it in now and realize that she is an incumbent. She could have gone to the border. She could have gone to the border every week of every month of the 45 months or so that she's been vice president, maybe 44 months that she's been vice president. And she could have been there urging Joe Biden not to lift the Remain in Mexico policy, urging Joe Biden to allocate more resources, building the wall, which she now says she's in favor of. She is really becoming quite expert at the double flip off of the high dive. But it's not persuasive. And if you go back, that was her strong point. That was her best moment. That was the first question, the program softball, first day question. Presidents don't do much on first day except executive orders, and Joe Biden's already done all the executive orders that she could possibly want to do. I was not persuaded at all that she can manage a long-form interview with even a moderately aggressive interviewer. No ambushes, just drill down a little bit on something like fracking, drill down a little bit on something like the making illegal immigration have consequences, but not tell us what those consequences are. It might be a $5 fine. I didn't find her persuasive. Moreover, I think people would shudder at the prospect of listening to her for 4 years not answer questions so inartfully.
All right, before I let you go, Hugh, you've been following this story from day one. Grim news out of Gaza. Hamas would rather hostages be killed than be released. Will the Biden-Harris administration continue to pressure Israel for a ceasefire with a group that kills hostages right before they're set to be freed? And what about this pro-Hamas wing of the Democrat Party?
Well, it's a real situation for the Democrats that they do not know what to do, because I believe Kamala Harris will be the most anti-Israel, maybe the first anti-Israel president we've ever had if somehow she wins. But I point out on Thursday night in the interview that she did on CNN, she said 4 times, we have to get a deal, we have to get a deal, we must get a deal, we have to have a hostage deal. It seems to me, if the timing is correct on reports coming out of Israel, the hostages were executed either Thursday night or Friday night. And it seems to me as well that Hamas should get consequences, as should our allies who shelter them, whether it's Turkey or Qatar, and that we have to begin to be serious with Iran, because Iran is funding these killers. One of those 6 who were executed either on Saturday night or Friday night was Hersh Goldberg Pollen. I had the honor of interviewing his mother. He was 23 years old. He's a wonderful young man, an American citizen, a dual citizen with Israel. And to be a cold-blooded killer of someone who was that wonderful a human being, and if you talk to Rachel Goldberg Pollen, you know how wonderful he was, you'll realize that America cannot deal with Hamas, and we ought to just simply stop pushing Israel to slit its own throat by doing so.
Hugh Hewitt, following that and every other story of significance, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Thank you for having me, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.